suppose now means now.
Can I go with you?
Why? No, I'll be back for dinner. I'll bring Cromwell to dinner, shall I? Serve him right.
Mother, don't be witty.
Why not? Wits was in question.
While we are waiting, Nolan may interest us.
He's not the devil's son, Roper. He's a lawyer. And my case is watertight.
They say he's a very penetrating lawyer.
What, Cromwell? Oh, he's a pragmatist. And that's the only resemblance he has to the devil's son, Roper. A pragmatist. The merest plum.
Sir Thomas, I'm sorry to invite you on short notice. Good thing. You know Master Rich?
Indeed, yes. We're old friends. That's a nice gown you have, Richard.
Master Rich will make a record of our conversation.
Good of you to tell me, Master Secretary.
Oh, Sir Thomas, you don't believe me when I say... No, that's asking too much. But let me tell you all the same. You have no more sincere admirer than myself.
If I might hear the charges.
Charges?
I understand there are certain charges.
Some ambiguities of behavior I'd like to clarify. Hardly charges.
Make a note of that, will you, Master Rich? There are no charges.
Oh, Sir Thomas, you know, it amazes me that you were once so effective in the world, and are now so very much retired from it. You should be opposing yourself to the whole movement of the times.
It amazes me, too.
The king is not pleased with you.
I am grieved.
Yet do you know that even now, if you could agree to the parliament, the bishops, the universities of this realm, there is no honor which the king would be likely to deny you?
I am well acquainted with His Grace's generosity.
Very well. You are aware of the so-called Holy Maid of Kent, who was executed for prophesying against the king?
Yes, I knew the poor woman.
You sympathize with her?
She was ignorant, misguided. She was a bit mad, I think. And she is paid for her folly. Naturally, I sympathize with her.
You met her, you admit meeting her, and yet you did not warn the king of her folly. What was that?
She spoke no folly. She spoke no treason of any kind. Our conversation was not political.
You wrote a letter to her?
I did. I wrote advising her to abstain from meddling with the affairs of princes in the state. I have a copy of the letter, witnessed.
Be cautious.
I like to keep my affairs regular.
Mr. Thomas, there is a more serious charge.
Charge?
For want of a better word. In the May 1526, the king published a book, a theological work, entitled The Defense of the Seven Sacraments.
Yes. For which he was named Defender of the Faith by His Holiness the Pope.
By the Bishop of Moreau. Or do you insist on?
No, Bishop of Rome, if you like. It doesn't alter his authority.
Thank you. You come to my point very readily. Is that authority? As regards the church in Europe, for example, the church in England, what exactly is the Bishop of Rome's authority?
You will find it very ably set out and defended in the King's book.
The book published under the king's name would be more accurate. You wrote that book.
I wrote no part of it.
I do not mean you actually held the pen.
I merely answered, to the best of my ability, certain questions on canon law which His Majesty put to me, as I was bound to do.
Do you deny that you instigated it?
It was from first to last the King's own project. This is trivial, Master
I
Riccio.
should not think so if I were in your place.
Only two people know the truth of the matter, myself and the King. And whatever he may have said to me about this, he will not give evidence to support this accusation.
Why not?
Because evidence is given on oath, and he will not perjure himself. If you don't know that, you don't yet know him.
Sir Thomas, have you anything to say to me regarding the king's marriage with Queen Anne?
I understood I was not to be asked this again.
Evidently you understood wrongly. These charges...
They are terrors for children, Master Secretary! An empty cupboard to frighten children in the dark, not me.
You're right, of course. To frighten men, there must be something in the cupboard. Must there not?
Yes, and there was nothing in it.
For the moment there is this. I charge you with great ingratitude. I remind you of many benefits graciously given and ill received. I tell you that no king ever had nor could have so villainous a servant, nor so traitorous a subject as yourself. These words are not mine own, but the king's, Sir Thomas. Believe that.
has the style. So I'm brought here at last.
Brought? You brought yourself to where you stand.
True, but still, in another sense, I was brought.
Right, yes. And then go on. For the present. I don't like him so well as I did. There's a man who raises the gale and won't come out of the harbor.
Do you still think you could frighten him?
Oh, yes.
What are you going to do?
Whatever is necessary. The king is a man of conscience, rich, and he wants either Sir Thomas More to bless his marriage or Sir Thomas More to destroy it.
They seem odd alternatives, Secretary.
Do they? It's because you're not a man of conscience. You see, if the king destroys a man, that's evidence to the king it's a bad man. The kind of man a man of conscience ought to destroy. And a bad man is not worth having. So either will do.
Right.
There's no going back, Rich. Either we made ourselves the keepers of this conscience. It's ravenous.
Boat? Boat. Oh, come now, it's not as bad as that. A boat? Oh. Howard, I can't get boat. They won't bring me a boat.
Do you blame them?
Is it as bad as that?
It's every bit as bad as that.
Well, it's good of you to be seen with me.
I followed you.
Were you followed?
Promise, listen to what I have to say. You're behaving like a fool. Behaving like a crank. You are not behaving like a gentleman. All right, that means nothing to you, but what about your friends?
What about them?
Blast it, Thomas, you're dangerous to know.
Then don't know me.
There's something for it. You may know by now there's a policy with us. The king is using me.
That's clever. No, that's Cromwell. So you're between the upper and the nether millstones, then?
I am.
Howard, you must cease to know me.
I do know you. I wish I didn't, but I do.
I mean as a friend.
You are my friend.
Howard, I can't relieve you of your obedience to the king. You must relieve yourself of our friendship. No one's safe now, and you have a son. Howard, our friendship's more beautiful than this. You must relieve yourself of it.
Oh, that's beautiful, is it? The one fixed point in the world on changing friendships that Thomas Moreau will not give in.
To me it has to be. Well, that's myself. Affection goes as deep in me as you think, Howard. But only God has love right through. And that's myself.
And who are you? Blasted, Thomas is disproportionate. We're supposed to be the proud, the arrogant, the splenetic ones. And we've all given in. Why must you stand out? You break my heart.
We'll do it now, Howard. Part as friends. Meet as strangers.
Daft, Thomas! Why do you wish to take your friendship from me? You'll say we'll meet as strangers, and every word you said confirms our friendship.
Oh, well, that can be remedied. Norfolk, you're a fool.
You can't place a quarrel. You haven't the style.
Hear me out. You and your class have given in, as you rightly call it. Because the religion of this country means nothing to you, one way or the other.
Well, that's a foolish saying to start. The nobility of England have always
The
been...
nobility of England, my lord, would have snored through the Sermon on the Mount. But you'll labor like Thomas Aquinas over a rat dog's pedigree. Now, what's the name of those distorted creatures you're all breeding at the moment?
An artificial quarrel is not a quarrel.
Don't fool yourself, my lord. We've had a quarrel since the day we met. Our friendship was but sloth.
You can be cruel when you're inclined to be. I've always known that.
What's the name of those dogs? Marsh mastiffs, bog beagles.
Water spaniels!
And what would you do with a water spaniel that was afraid of water? You'd hang it. Well, as spaniels are to water, so is a man to himself. I can't give in because I oppose it, Norfolk. I do. Not my pride, not my spleen, nor any of my appetites, but I do. Is there no single sin in the midst of all this that serves no appetite of Norfolk's, but is just Norfolk? There is. Give that some exercise, my lord.
Thomas?
Because as you stand, you'll go before your maker in a very poor condition.
That was Norfolk.
Sir, have you heard? Did you tell him? We're speeding after Parliament.
swear an oath.
An oath? On what compulsion?
It's expected to be treason.
What is the oath?
It's about marriage, sir.
What is the wording?
We don't need to know the wording, we know what it will mean.
It will mean what the words say. An oath is made of words. It may be possible to take it, or avoid it. Have we a copy of the bill?
There's one coming out from the city.
Let's get home and look at it. Oh, I've no boat.
Father, he hit you.
Yes. I spoke slightingly of water spaniels. Let's get home. Now listen, Will. And Meg, you listen too. You know I know you well. God made the angels to show him splendor, just as he made animals for their innocence and plants for their simplicity. But man, he made to serve him with him, in the tangle of his mind. And if he suffers us to fall to such a case that there is no escape, then we must stand to our tackle as best we can. And yes, Will, then we may climb like champions, if we have the spittle for it. Doubtless, it pleases God to see splendor where he looked only for complexity. But it is God's part, not Moreau, to bring ourselves to that extremity. Our natural business lies in escape. So let's get home and study this bill.
Pay scale being what it is nowadays, you gotta take away that common type of man into the prison service. But it's a job. Bit introductory than most perhaps, but it's a job like any other job.
You see, they would let him if they could, but for various reasons, they can't.
I'd let him out if I could, but I can't. Now if I've taken a presence in that myself.
That's true. And he's in there anyway, so what'd be the point? Now, you all know the old adage, better a live rat than a dead lion. And that's about it. Right. With reference to the old adage, Thomas Cromwell was found guilty of high treason and executed on the 28th of July, 1540. Norfolk was also found guilty of high treason and should have been executed on the 27th of January, 1547. But on the night before, the king died of syphilis and wasn't able to sign the warrant. Thomas Cranmer?
Archbishop of Canterbury, that's the other one.
Ah, yes. Was burned alive on the 21st of March, 1556. Ugh. Oh, Richard Rich became a knight, solicitor general, baron, and lord chancellor, and then died in his bed. And so did you. And so I hope will we all.
Wake up, Sir Thomas.
What again?
Sorry, sir.
What time is it?
1 o'clock, sir.
Oh, this is iniquitous.
Sir.
Very well. Who's there?
The secretary, the duke, and the archbishop, sir.
I'm flattered.
A seat for the prisoner. This is the seventh inquiry in the case of Sir Thomas More, appointed by His Majesty's Council. Have you anything to say?
No. Thank you.
Mr. Cromwell?
Sir Thomas, this is the secretary.
Sir.
Sir Thomas, this is the act of succession. The names of the men who have sworn to it.
I have seen it before.
Will you swear to it?
No.
Thomas, we must know plainly whether you have object.
To know whether you have objections to the act. Your Grace. Please.
Thomas, we must know plainly whether you accept the act.
The offspring of Queen Anne, as heirs to the throne, I do.
Then why won't you swear to the act?
It's just putting that in the act.
Is that it?
Yes.
We must find out what is in the act he objects to.
Brilliant.
Grace, may I try? Certainly. I have no pretensions on being expert in police work.
Sir Thomas, it states in the preamble that the king's former marriage to Lady Kathryn was unlawful, she being previously his brother's wife, and the Pope having no authority to sanction it. Is that what you dispute? Is that what you deny? Is that what you are not sure of?
Thomas, you insult the king and his council in the person of the Lord Archbishop.
I insult no one. I will not take the oath. I will not tell you why I will not.
Then your reasons must be treasonable.
Not must be.
me. Well, that's a fair assumption.
The law requires more than an assumption. The law requires a fact.
You cannot judge your legal standing in the case. And on the ground of your objections, I can only guess at your spiritual standing too.
Well, if you can guess at that, Your Grace, it should be a small matter to guess my objections.
Then you do have objections to the end.
We all know that, Cromwell.
You don't, Master Secretary. You don't know why I won't sign to the act. You don't know that I have any objections to it at all. It may be I simply delight in giving you trouble.
Is it material why you won't?
It's most material. For refusing to sign, I am punished with imprisonment. My goods are all forfeit. You cannot lawfully harm me any further. But if you were right in supposing I had objections to the act, and right again supposing the objections to be treasonable, the law will let you cut my head off.
Yes.
Well done, Sir Thomas. I've been trying to make that clear to His Grace for some time.
Oh, confound us. I'm not as scholar as Master Cromwell never tires of pointing out. And frankly, I don't know whether the marriage is lawful or not. But Thomas, look at those names. You know those men. Why don't you do what I did? Come with us. The fellowship.
And when the day of judgment comes, and you are sent to paradise for doing according to your conscience, and I am damned for doing according to mine, or rather not doing, will you come with me then for fellowship?
So those of us whose names are there are damned, Sir Thomas?
I don't know, Your Grace. I have no window to look into another man's conscience. I condemn no one. It is certainly a matter capable of question.
But that you owe obedience to your king is not capable of question. So lay a doubt against his certainty and sign.
Some men think the world is round, others think it flat. It is a matter capable of question. But if the world is flat, will the king's command make it round? And if the world is round, will the king's command flatten it? No, I will not sign.
You have more regard for your own doubt than for the King's word.
For myself, I have no doubt.
No doubt in what?
No doubt of my objections to the act. Objections which you, Master Secretary, will not trick out of me.
Thomas.
Gentlemen, we cannot go to bed.
You don't seem to appreciate the seriousness of your position.
I defy anyone to live in that cell for a year and not fully grasp the seriousness of his position.
And yet the state is harsher punishments.
You threaten like a dockside bully,
How should I threaten?
like a minister of the state, with justice.
Justice is what you're threatening with.
Then I'm not threatened.
I think the prisoner should be able to retire as he requests, unless you, my lord.
No, I see no purpose in prolonging the interview.
Then good night, Thomas.
Might I have one or two more books?
You have books.
Yes.
No, you shouldn't.
May I see my family?
No. Taylor. Sir? Have you heard the prisoner speak of the king's marriage, the king's divorce, or the king's supremacy of the church?
No, sir, not a word.
You will, of course, report to the lieutenant if you do.
Of course, sir.
You'll swear an oath to that effect.
Certainly, sir.
Put your left hand on this, raise your right hand. Take off your hat. Now repeat after me. I swear by my immortal soul.
I swear by my mortal soul
that I will report truly.
that I will report truly
Anything said by Sir Thomas More
anything said by Sir Thomas More
against the king,
against the king,
the council,
the council,
or the state of the realm.
or the state of the realm.
So help me God. Amen.
So help me God, amen.
And there's 50 guineas in it if you do.
Yes, sir.
That's not to tempt you to perjury, my man.
No, sir.
50 guineas?
50 guineas isn't tempting. 50 guineas is alarming. 50 you left it at swearing. But 50, now that's serious money.
If it's worth that much now, it's worth your neck presently.
I want no part in it. They can sort out between them. I can feel my deafness coming on.
Rich. Secretary. In the morning, remove the prisoner's books.
Is that necessary?
As regards this case, though, both the king is becoming impatient.
I, with you.
With all of us. You know the king's impatience. How commodious it can be.
Secretary. Mr. Revers Llewellyn has retired. The Attorney General for Wales. His post is vacant. You said I might approach you.
Oh, not now, Rich. He must submit.
The alternatives are bad. I bring about Moore's death. I command my own. There's no other solution. He must submit.
We got your comments, your family's here.
Good morning, Father.
Margaret? Margaret! What's this? You can visit me? Meg. For God's sakes, Meg, don't put you in here.
No, sir, just a visit. Short one.
Jailer, let me out of this.
Yes, sir, I'm all to let you out.
Thank you.
There you are, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, Alice. Good morning, Will.
Husband, how do you do?
As well as need be, Alice. Very happy now. Will?
This place is awful.
Except it's keeping me from you, my dear. It's just not so bad. Remarkably like any other place.
It drips.
Yes. Too near the river.
We brought you some things. Some cheese.
Cheese.
And custard.
Custard?
These other things.
And a bottle of wine.
Oh. Is it good, Son Robert?
I don't know, sir. Sir, come out of this place. Where did that come out?
Is this why they let you come?
It's under oath, Jasmine.
That was silly, Meg. How did you come to do that?
I wanted to.
You want me to swear to the act of succession?
God, moral guard, thoughts of the heart, and the words of the mouth. So you've always told me.
Yes.
To say the words of the oath, and did your heart think otherwise?
What is an oath but words that we say to God?
It's very neat.
Do you mean it isn't true?
No, it's true.
And it's a poor argument to call it neat, Meg. When a man takes an oath, Meg, he's holding his own self in his own hands, like water. And if he opens his hands then, he needn't hope to find himself again. Some men aren't capable of this. But I'd be loath to think you're following.
In any state that was half good, you'd be raised up high. Not here for what you've done already. It's not your fault the state's 3/4 bad. Then if you elect to suffer for it, you elect yourself a hero.
That's very neat. But look, if we lived in a world where virtue was profitable, common sense would make us good, greed would make us saintly, and we'd live like angels and animals in the happy land that needs no heroes. But since instead we see that the 7 deadly sins commonly profit far beyond the virtues of God, and have to choose to be human at all, and we must stand a little, even at the risk of being heroes.
But in reason, haven't you done as much as God can reasonably want?
Well, finally, it isn't a matter of reason. Finally, it's a matter of love.
You're content then. We should have killed the mice and rats when you might be home with us.
Content? If they opened a crack that wide, I'd be through it. Well, has Eve run out of apples?
I've not yet told you what the house is like without you.
Don't, Meg.
What we do in the evening so that you're not there.
Meg, I'm done.
We sit in the dark. Because we have no candles. And we have no talk because we're wondering what they're doing to you here.
The king's more merciful than you. He doesn't use the rack.
2 minutes to go, sir. I thought you'd like to know.
2 minutes.
Till 7 o'clock, sir. Sorry, 2 minutes.
Jailer! Go, play for time. How? Anyhow. Have you got any money? Yes. No, don't try and bribe him. Make him playful. He's got a pair of dice. Talk to him and share this. And mind you, do it properly. Go, now. Now listen, you must all leave the country. All of you must leave the country.
And leave you here?
Makes no difference. They won't let you see me again.
After the trial then?
There'll be no trial. They have no case. You must go on the same day, but not from the same court. Different boats, different ports. Do this for me, I beseech you.
Yes.
Alice. Alice, I command you.
Right.
Oh, this is splendid. I know who packed this.
I packed it.
Yes. You still make superlative custard, Alice.
Do I?
That's a nice dress you have on.
It's my cooking dress.
It's very nice anyway. Nice color.
My God, you think very little of me. I know I'm a fool, but I know such fool that it's time to be lamented for my dresses and rush complimenting on my custard.
I am well rebuked. Alice.
No.
I faint when I think of the worst that they may do to me. But worse than that would be for me to go without you understanding why I go.
I don't.
Alice, I think tell me that you understand. I think I can make a good death, if I have to.
Your death's no good to me.
You must tell me that you understand.
I don't